Welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about KPIs. I know it's crazy. For those of you who doesn't know what is KPI, great, congratulations. It means that you have not suffered from going under this pressure, doing the rat race, climbing the ladder. It probably means that you have been working in art for a long time and you're an art school graduate, and just not knowing KPI is a bless. But I'm going to tell you about KPIs in case if you're growing your art business and perhaps one day you will face an opportunity to grow your team and to manage a team, then you will need to perhaps use KPI as a tool to manage other people. And also if you feel like you need a little bit more discipline, a little bit more like integrating number and managerial tools into your day-to-day art production so you can be a better artist, then maybe KPI is right for you. It really depends on your situation, on your many things, your personality and the way you adapt to this tool. And that's why I think it's really important for me to give you this tool before, so that it's an option to use it or leave it. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. It's a way to measure your success in a company, how well you're doing. And I believe that KPI can measure almost everything. If you have a performance, it probably can be measured by KPIs. And it's like a BMI, body mass index. If you have a body, you can be measured by BMIs. But again, BMI is a range of numbers that you can fall into being too skinny or being too fat, but you know your perfect body weight that you feel good with. And KPI is the same. Maybe the KPI looks a little bit too poor or too inflated for other people, but for you, it's the most important is that how you set up your KPI and measure it and track your progress. And now let's look at some examples of KPI as an artist. For example, if you want to achieve $100,000 in sales in the end of the year, you can measure it by, in the first quarter, you have achieved $25,000 in sales and you know that you are on the right track. If you have not achieved, not even close, and you know maybe it's you're not gonna arrive that, or maybe you should push harder using some marketing tools, or maybe you should adjust a KPI to be less ambitious. The second example is you want to produce 10 artworks every month, which is, let's say, quite standard for professional artists. And if you produce only 3 or 4 this month and you know that you're not going to arrive that KPI, and you can do some adjustment, like maybe working harder next month, or again adjust the KPI to be less ambitious, but then you know that you're not going to make it to the level of your expectation, and then you also have to adjust it emotionally not to come across a huge level of frustration, anxiety and stress. Last example, if you want to have 10,000 social media following on your Instagram, for an artist, it's very good to have 10,000 as a start to be able to sell your artworks on your social media and to draw traffic to your website and web store. So this is a very important KPI to set. And maybe you have arrived at 20,000 in the end of the year, and that's very good. So you have overachieved it, and maybe you can adjust the KPI to be a little bit more next year, and you know that this is your strength comparing to other artists and other artists' KPIs. And I want to say again, this is a way for you to measure yourself. And it's not some kind of like an authoritarian tool for other people to judge you. As long as you are comfortable with your KPIs, then go ahead, stick to it, so you can use it as a way to motivate yourself. If you think that the previous KPIs, probably they're too ambitious, it is also your freedom to adjust it however you want. And it's very important to keep the track of the progress or the cringe, so you know how well you're doing. This is the most important thing, to see your own growth, to see whether you're working better, if you can improve as an artist, as a business owner. If you are new to setting your KPIs, I want to continue talking about how you should set your KPIs. First thing first, it has to be super realistic. In a company, I hated using KPIs because usually people don't set it realistically enough. They would say, for example, I want to do 50,000 in sales. And then the colleagues can say, oh, you're not ambitious enough. The bosses can say, well, I think you could do better. And you say 100,000, and then you don't arrive 100,000, and then you have to cook the book, trick the numbers. And finally, it's a vicious circle because there will be the next year and you want to do 200,000 and you don't arrive 200,000, you look bad. Again, you trick the numbers, and guess what? Finally, it's just all for nothing and it's counterproductive. So first, you have to be super realistic. The second thing is it has to be super quantifiable. Quantifiable is a funny thing for people working in the creative industry because we don't tend to quantify enough. Although making art with quality is important, it's also equally important to be able to measure the quality of your art in a quantitative way. I know it's not so intuitive, but let's just imagine. You can break it down, the quality, and say, if I have 100 likes on Facebook, on Instagram, it is a quality, because if people love your work, it must be quality, right? Because you will not assume that people hate your work as a quality, right? So unless you're trying to be provocative, of course, but you can see how people comment, how people share your work as a quantified way to see the quality of your work, just giving you an example. Or you can also contact gallerists or art dealers to see their response to your artworks, and if they give nice comments, it's also, let's say, if they write back to you, it's already a way to show that your artworks, they have certain kind of quality. Last but not least, it has to be easily measurable, because it might not be so easy to measure your success. For example, if you post your art on social media, it's easy to see how many people have seen it, shared it, liked it, and commented on it. But if you publish your art maybe in a magazine, in a newspaper, you don't really know how many people have seen it. Even you know how many copies has been distributed, you don't really know if it's sold or if people actually saw your work. Like with their eyeball tracking, you can't track these eyeballs, you can't track the comments, because it is the problem, the flaw of the traditional media, and so that you cannot always measure everything. If you have to set KPI on how many people have visited my art in this exhibition, it means you have to be there with a clicker 8 hours a day trying to see how many people have actually passed by your work and saw your work. And it's like nonsense. You would lose so much time trying to keep track of some simple things. And in this case, don't set a KPI that would cost you more time than actually performing your tasks, if that makes sense. Now I want to give you an example as a young emerging artist, how you could use KPI to regulate your production and to become a professional artist. A few days ago, I received an email from a young artist. She asked me if I could recommend her some places to show her art and maybe sell her art, some maybe names of gallerists where she could approach. And she sent me her artworks. And I saw those artworks, they're all in different color, shape, size, style. Like I would not have guessed that it is even from the same artist. And I wrote her back saying, okay, can you send me 10 paintings in the same size, style, that I can show the artworks to art dealer in my town. She told me that she had not 10 artworks the same, and I was like, well, okay, so can you produce 10 artworks and get back to me next month or in X amount of time? And she wrote to me like, I have no idea how long it would take me actually to produce 10 artworks in the same style, size, color, shape, and I have no idea. And I felt like she could have benefited so much from using KPIs, because she could easily track her work, like how long it takes for her to produce one work, how many works she could produce each month, and more importantly, to produce 10 artworks per style. She could explore as many styles as she wanted to, but she needs to produce this 10 per series, because this is the only way for her to be able to show the works, because works are shown in series. And it's just a thing in that world. And if you want to be exhibited in art gallery, the art dealer will see if you have grown in terms of series and how long you have been working on your art style. And if they see that you're exploring styles, one style each work jumping like that, and they might feel, and they will feel, that you are not ready to be taken seriously as an artist. So it's very important for her to use KPI to kind of constrain her a little bit, because if you let your creativity flow all over the place, then you are still a hobby artist. You're not entering the professionalism of taking it seriously like a job, that means you have to fulfill certain kind of criteria. And if you have a mature artist friends, like professional mid-career artists, you can see how they work and convert their work-life habits as your KPIs, like how many works they produce each month, how many hours they spend in the studio each week, and write that down and trying to see if it works for you and adapt your KPI towards it, so that you know that you're working towards becoming a professional artist and you are on the right direction, on the right track. Thank you very much for watching this video. I would love to hear your KPIs. What are your KPIs? What are you exactly thinking to achieve? I would love to hear it. My KPI currently is to produce more than 300 videos this year. That is one day a video during the working days. I hope I will hit my mark. So far so good. Let me know what you think and don't forget to click the thumbs up, and thank you very much. See you in the next video.